This last section of our chapter is to take a look at frequency and measures of central tendency. As we're doing this, we're really looking at this stuff called data, kind of introducing some statistical concepts. Now, data just consists of several observations. What did we observe? With the data, we're interested in some vocabulary around it. First, we might want to know what the sample size is. Often written with the letter N to represent the number of things. It's just the number of things in that sample. How many data values did we observe? So if I asked everybody in the class what their age was, and there are 20 people in the class, the sample size is the 20 people in the class. The frequency of a data value is the number of occurrences within the sample. In other words, if there were 5 students who were 21, then the frequency of 21 would be 5. And finally, the relative frequency is the frequency divided by the total frequency. In other words, it gives the proportion of people that fall in that category. So for example, if I asked a whole bunch of students the number of streaming services that they subscribe to, their answers might be 3, 4, 2, 3, 7, 4, 1, 2, 2, 4, 3, 3, 2, 3, 4, and 2. That's the data, the numbers. The problem is it's hard to tell the story of the data when it's just a bunch of random numbers like this. So we're going to organize it into a frequency table. We're going to list the values that came up as answers and the frequency of those values. And we're also going to have a column for the relative frequency, so we know kind of what proportion of the time they came up. So we have answers as small as 1 and as large as 7. So we'll go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then we'll go through and count how many times the number 1 occurs. The number 1 occurred once, so the frequency of the number 1 is 1. How many times did the number 2 occur? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 2s. How many times did the number 3 occur? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 3s. How many times did the number 4 occur? 1, 2, 3, 4 4s. And we see 0 5, 0 6s, and 1 7. Now, if I want to know the relative frequency, or the proportion of number of people who responded to that value number, we're going to divide the frequency by the total frequency. So if I add up the frequencies, 1 plus 5 plus 5 plus 4 plus 1, we find out there are 16 people in this sample. That's our N, by the way. N is the sample size of 16. So to get the relative frequency, we're going to divide the frequency by the 16, by that sample size. So using my calculator, if I do 1 divided by 16, I get 0.0625. Do 5 divided by 16, I get 0.3125. Same thing for the other 5, because it's the same numbers. 5 divided by 16. 4 divided by 16 is 0.25. You can put 0, 0 there if you want the numbers to line up. 0 divided by anything is just 0. And finally, 1 divided by 16 is 0.0625. And we get the relative frequencies of the individual numbers. So we can see about 25% of the people have 4 streaming services. Now, we don't have to necessarily break up the values into their individual data's values. We can express them as a range of values instead. So let's take the same table, and we're going to list the values as a range. We put a square bracket to say we're going to go from 1 to 3 with a curved bracket. Now, the curved bracket means 3 is not included in this row. It's going to be included in the next row, going from 3 to 5. With the curved bracket means it's included in the next row. So we're going to go from 5 to 7, but with a curved bracket, and then 7 to 9 with a curved bracket as well. So the first column has the values of 1 and 2, because 3 is in the next row because of that curved value. So when we want the frequencies, we saw before that the numbers 1 and 2 happened 1 and 5 times, which means we've got a total of 6 for the frequency there. Between 3 and 5, that'd be the numbers 3 and 4. That'd be 5 and 4. Add those together, and I get 9. Between 5 and 7, that's 0 and 0. Remember, 7 is not included, so there's going to be 0 there. And between 7 and 9, there was 1 data value. Now, I could have counted those from the data values up above as well, where we circled all the numbers. We get the same result. And then we can make a column for the relative frequency, again, by dividing by the total frequency. And so if we add up the frequencies, 6 plus 9 plus 1, we get 16. As expected, it's the same sample size. So we'll take the 6 divided by 16, and that's 0.3750. 9 divided by 16 is 0.5625. 0 divided by 16 is 0.0000. And 1 divided by 16 is 0.0625. And that is our frequency table. 2 ways to demonstrate the same data.